Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this pre-recorded introduction to CloudVPN. So my name is Rico. I'm the product specialist for the CloudVPN and other data communication devices from Beijer Electronics. Very happy to have you here. So before we get started into the proper presentation, let us go through the contents. First, we'll go through this why is the CloudVPN important for Beijer Electronics itself and also to our customers. What is the CloudVPN? What kind of hardware do we carry for the CloudVPN? How does the CloudVPN works? And some questions and answers for frequently asked information on the security and IT requirements for the CloudVPN. And then how to get started. So CloudVPN, an introduction. Why is CloudVPN relevant in this day and age? First off, let us look back in time a few years ago, and what are the headaches usually associated with creating a remote access solution with regular industrial router. The very first thing that we always need to have when we are creating in the past OVPN connection is we have to ensure the existing site or the SIM card that we have to use or somewhere along the chain, a server requires a public IP address system. Next, we might need to configure port forwarding if we were using public IP addresses on certain locations as well. After that, we really have to think through whether it is secure. The security of this, of having public IPs or having port forwarding set up on your routers. Next, we might always think of scaling, because once we have installed one site, when you want to expand it, you have to choose hardware that is future-proof, so that will be much easier for you to scale, of course. And then you have to think about private SIM cards in certain situation where your customers doesn't really allow public IP SIM cards or internet-facing SIM cards. So those are quite a few challenges in this case. And to the regular day-to-day industrial engineer, all this is just a big headache for them, of course. Then what does the CloudVPN solve? It actually throws away most of the problems that we have associated with the previous methods of implementing a remote access solution. One, it actually ensures secure connectivity with point-to-point encryption from your device all the way to the router and onto the site. Next, it actually has a lot of time-saving features built in to save your time. So once you've got a router configured, it's quite easy to actually expand and scale using the same configurations that you have done. Next, it is actually a very secure platform with regular audits. We are working close with our partners who have created this platform, and they are actually ISO 27001 certified already, and they have also certified the products onto several different points of the 62443 certification as well. And regular audits are being done on the platform every year. Next, this actually has a very powerful role-based user management system that we'll cover much more later in probably another video as well. And last but not least, with us moving forward in time, more and more customers wants to collect data. More and more customers want to actually have an overview of the data that they collect. CloudVPN actually offers an add-on that allows you to actually view live and historical data accordingly once you actually are on this platform, which is a very nice feature to have. So what is the CloudVPN? So CloudVPN itself, we have to think of it as a platform and not just a single hardware product. The whole platform consists of the cloud service that we have hosted within our URL, cloudvpn.astrialplus.com. Next, we have the VPN router itself. So we have different variants of the CloudVPN router. We'll cover more of that later as well. Then we have the CloudVPN client, which is installed in your computers. So that will actually allow you to access the VPN routers remotely later on as well. We also have the browser-based services that we have built onto the cloud services that you can actually run natively on your browser. One example would be the VNC client that is built directly into the browser within the cloud service. What that translates to is that users will not have to require to download an additional VNC application on their laptops and then connect to VPN and then open up the VNC service itself. Everything can be done directly through the browser itself, which makes it much more smoother, much more intuitive, and much more easier on the user itself. And then we also recently launched the CloudVPN mobile app as well. So the mobile app, you can think of it as an extension of the web-based portal that you see. On top of that, all the notifications that you get usually on emails also exist as push notifications to your mobile app as well. So it's really a very nice feature to have, especially if you are logging and also monitoring alarms using the CloudVPN. So what does the CloudVPN offer? So I like to explain it in two ways. Within the CloudVPN service, we have two separate entities or separate channels, if you want to say that, for the services. We have on one end, we have the services that are dependent on the VPN. And on the other end, we have services that is residing on the web portal itself. So on the VPN, what does the VPN give you? Having a VPN connection, you actually get direct VPN tunnel to the whole local area network behind your router. What that means is that you're actually able to do remote updating of your HMI, your PLCs, or whatever systems that require LAN network connection that you have. You can also do remote updating, PLC firmware updating as well with the CloudVPN once you have connected through the VPN itself. Next, we have the web access. So on the web access, you can actually set up things like VNC. So like I mentioned previously, you can access directly using the VNC service without having to download additional software, of course. Next, and then we have the HTTP service. Basically, you're able to run any HTTP web server that's behind your CloudVPN router as well once you set it up. And then we also have services such as WebSocket and also data source for data collection as well. So it's important to know that currently for the CloudVPN, we are actually offering a lifetime connection within the hardware lifetime itself. Okay, so next, we'll talk about the CloudVPN hardware overview. So like I mentioned, the CloudVPN actually has multiple different variants. Depending on what you need, you can actually select the most appropriate hardware for your customer or for yourself. So we have 4 different variants. We have the Ethernet only. We have Ethernet is basically on all our hardware variants. The difference between each of the variants would be the wireless module that is installed. So the very basic Ethernet only version does not have any wireless module. Next, we have the Ethernet plus LTE version. And we also have the Ethernet plus Wi-Fi version. And finally, we have the all-in-one version, which is the most powerful one, where we have both the Ethernet, LTE, and Wi-Fi on board as well. So just to also for you to take note, the CloudVPN, when it's shipped within the box, it does not include the USB memory stick. It doesn't include the power supply or antennas. So you have to actually buy it separately or place an order separately. Just now, I already talked about the different hardware accessories that you might need for your CloudVPN. Here we have actually a summarized version of what you have, what we actually provide on the Beijer itself. So we have the LTE antennas, we have the Wi-Fi antennas, and we have the power supplies. So all these you can actually pick and choose what is actually required for you or your installation. So how does it work? So the Cloud VPN, you can look at it as multiple different connections. Let us first look at the hardware itself. From the hardware, we actually have two different connections coming out that's connecting to our Cloud VPN portal. So on one end, we have the VPN connection, which can be turned off. And that's actually a very useful feature to have. So the VPN connection, when turned off, can actually save you data in the sense that because it doesn't have to keep the tunnel alive. So if your customer or yourself is connected through a metered network, such as a satellite connection, which charges quite high for data, it's interesting for you to know that the VPN connection that can actually be turned off. Okay. On the other hand, we do have the MQTT connection that is always connected to the Cloud VPN portal itself. That cannot be turned off because it's actually sending all the status, the configuration, and also the logging if you have logging turned on, of course. So basically, when I talked about turning on and off the VPN connection itself, that's actually being done using MQTT commands over the portal as well. Besides using the portal to turn on and off the Cloud VPN's VPN tunnel, you can actually also use the digital input that is built into your Cloud VPN to actually turn on and turn off the VPN itself. So now that we have finished looking at the from the router's point of view, we can look at the user's point of view, which we have over here. So each user will have different roles set up, and with different users and different roles, they will be able to do different things. That's the flexibility of Cloud VPN, because you can actually give them a lot of different user-based access control rights in this case. So we broken it down into three basic things that we could do using the Cloud VPN. One, you can give them VPN connection. That means once they are connected via the VPN, they have access to the whole local area network. So depending on who has access, you should only give this to people who you trust or people who needs it as well. It's a good thing to know that for the Cloud VPN, when you invite a user now, you can actually set up a time restriction in the sense that you can expire within a set period of time once you have invited them, which can give you an ease of mind. So for example, if you require to actually invite someone, a user who is supposed to work on updating a part of your system, and they should only have access for a week because that is the timeline that's given to you, you can actually set it within the timeline, and then you won't have to stress about forgetting to remove their access later on. Next, we have the dashboard connection. So each Cloud VPN device will have multiple different dashboards set up. This is all actually customizable by yourself. Each dashboard can actually have different things, like if you're logging data or displaying data, you can actually customize your own dashboards as well. And each users can be customized to see different dashboards as well. So that's quite all the flexibility you need as well. And lastly, we have notifications. So notification is you have to buy a additional add-on. So for example, if you are already you have the notification turned on, you can actually check what is the values of certain tags. In this case, once or if the tag goes above or goes below a certain threshold, you can actually set a notification to be sent via email, or if you have the app installed via the app, to let you know that it has actually reached or go over the threshold that you have set. So now that I've explained slightly about how the Cloud VPN works, maybe we can do a few walkthroughs in terms of the different process when you are actually using the Cloud VPN to actually let you have a better concept of understanding how it works. So I've talked a bit about MQTT and how we configure the device. So for example, when we are configuring a router, that's already online. So let's say if you're at the portal when you make certain changes to the router on the portal, that change that you have made actually still resides on the cloud itself. It's only pushed down to the router once you press the push configuration settings on the portal itself. So whatever changes that you make live is always first on the cloud and then pushed to the configuration. The configuration is then pushed to the router itself. Next, let's talk about how the VPN flows. So with the VPN client installed on your computer, once you press connect via VPN, you actually make a VPN tunnel between your computer to the Cloud VPN server. And then you actually have another tunnel that's from the Cloud VPN server all the way to the router itself. So there is actually an intermediary server in between if you look at it that way. So it's not a direct point-to-point connection as well. So next, we'll talk about the different dashboards and other information that you see on the Cloud VPN, which is run by MQTT in this case. So for example, if your router is turned on or turned off, that is actually based on the MQTT information being updated by the router to the Cloud VPN service. And then from the Cloud VPN service, the web portal actually can show you whether the device is turned on or turned off, whether it's online or having issues as well. So that's actually where the MQTT service comes in as well. We understand you and your customers might have a lot of questions about Cloud VPN security or the IT requirements regarding it. So we actually summarize the information quite a bit to present in this video as well. So these are the common questions that we get asked, and then we answer them through the slides. So one of the most common questions that we get asked is actually how the security is being maintained. So our partners that we have actually have a very well thought out system. All their systems are ISO 27001 certified and installed in the same certified data centers. Everything that you do is encrypted. They do very well, good patch management, vulnerability assessments, and they always continuously monitor the server health, they have multiple backups of servers and data backups as well. Besides that, the company itself is also ISO 9001, 27001 certified, and the rest that you see on the screen itself. So what's actually notable as well is the partner that we have been working with has also passed the IEC 62443 security level 2, which is the OT cybersecurity level certification for security and hardware development itself. So they go through rigorous third-party audits every year to make sure that their products and services actually meets the latest security requirements as well. So another set of common questions that we get is when you install the Cloud VPN on a corporate network or onto your customer's network, their IT department might request in some information regarding what are the ports that they require, the Cloud VPN requires to work in this case. So we have summarized the list of ports that's required over here. Some things notable would be you require to open port 443 in this case for the standard HTTPS and MQTT connection that we actually are using. As well, of course, there's also OpenVPN connection port for 1194 as well. So all the lists, this list is provided by you, for you, sorry. So feel free to use it and share it. At the later part of the presentation, we also highlight where you can find this information easily as well. So here we have the Cloud VPN demo video on how to get started with your Cloud VPN. So, like I mentioned, we understand it's important for you to quickly find information when you are playing around with the Cloud VPN. So it's my pleasure to tell you that we actually have a very good support site, especially for the Cloud VPN. So the site that we are talking about is actually cloudvpn.beierelectronics.com. And then you get redirected to our help pages for the Cloud VPN. So the information, like I mentioned, in terms of what kind of ports is required for the Cloud VPN, all those information can be easily found in the help portal that we have on the web page itself. And with that being said, this is actually the end of our very first presentation for Introduction to the Cloud VPN. I hope everyone has enjoyed it. And have a nice day wherever you are. Goodbye.